What's up, YouTube? We're back. It's your boy, Mad Stacker, and we're here to talk about the psychological benefits of stacking all this silver. Hey guys, welcome back. That's right, a little bit different kind of video today. First things first, I am searching through a crap ton of nickels that I got, and I'm sorting them by date and mint mark, so I can figure out which ones I'm going to keep and which ones I don't need. As you can see here, I am trying to fill up at least one tube of every year in mint mark. Some of them, like the 1945P, the 1943S, I already have almost a second full tube. The 1943P and the 1942P, I've already completed full tubes of. But the rest of them I still need to complete. So I'm searching through my 43s right now. I finished all the 42s, and I've got bags of 44s and 45s over there as well. So I'm just going to be doing this while I talk to you guys a little bit about the benefits of stacking silver that we typically don't think about. Now, most people stack silver for an investment. They stack silver as a hobby. There's a financial reason, SHTF, what have you. But there's other benefits that come with stacking silver. It's not just the wealth part of it, right? There are other things. First off, the wealth part of it creates a sense of security. It helps you feel like you've got a hedge against economic instability, currency devaluation, and all the things that can go wrong in our economy. So you get security from that. Then there's also, if something goes wrong, like you have a setback or an emergency, I can tell you so many different times in this community when people that I know personally had to sell part of their stack to bail themselves out of a situation that they couldn't control. A car broke down, or there was a medical bill, or whatever, and they had to sell off part or all of their stack. It happens. Now, I know these are supposed to be all 43s. Y'all still see me checking the date. I'm just double checking myself. I've been known to mess that up before, so I do double check these as I go. But yeah, it's a sense of security knowing, hey, if something happens, I'm covered. Now, you don't want that to happen. You don't want to have to break into your stack, but it does happen. I personally haven't had to do that yet. Not to say I haven't had any financial hardships since I've started stacking, because I definitely have. I've just managed to solve them before I had to get that deep into it. Another psychological benefit is the tangible ownership. It's stocks, bonds, all that other kind of stuff. You can have paper silver. It's just that. It's paper. And there's always that, feeling that it could just disappear one day. And with a tangible asset, you get to hold it in your hands. You have the physical representation of wealth right in front of you. And that's important. It's a definite psychological benefit. It's comforting that you can see and actually touch your investment. So I personally, not necessarily, if I close my eyes and hold my silver, or I put my hands in my pockets and look at my silver, I'd much rather the touching part of it for me personally. I just love to hold silver. Now, diversification, right? When it comes to investing, you want to be diversified. You want to have some paper. You want to have some real estate and things like that. But diversification provides a sense of control over your financial life, your financial future, all those things. So having that diversification in assets as well, the way it's supposed to work, and I do that in air quotes because of the manipulation, we don't see it as much. But the way it's supposed to work is when your stocks and stuff go down, that your precious metals are supposed to go up. And now that doesn't always happen that way, but it's great to be diversified for when the system does work the way it's supposed to, that you're covered on both sides of things. So I think that's very, very important. So what else? There's long-term perspective, right? So for those of you that haven't been stacking long, or have only been stacking for a couple years, like myself, you notice as you start to do this that you start to think about things a little bit differently, and you start to have a different perspective on how you spend money, how you you think about going out for a quick bite to eat that costs $50, and you're like, hey man, I could have 2 ounces of silver for that, right? And it helps you develop patience as well. When you're stacking, if you're stacking like me, a little bit at a time, and you're consistent with it, you develop a long-term skill set of having patience while you invest, and that's important as well, because a lot of people, you'll see it, like right when the silver markets start to move, you'll see people jumping in and jumping out, right? They panic. They either panic buy or they panic sell. But stacking silver creates that patience, and you start to develop a consistency. You develop a consistency that when the markets are up, you buy, and when the markets are down, you buy. And you just continue to do that because you're a stacker, and it doesn't matter to you what price silver is at. You are stacking precious metals, period. And you just continue to do so until you can't. And hopefully you never have to use it. Hopefully you get to pass it on to your kids. But you got that sense of security and that long-term perspective in case you don't. Another thing that I love about stacking that is a psychological benefit, and you'll see it in so many stackers when we do these challenges, right? So for those of you that are checklist people, why do people love checklists so much? Because when they finish a checklist, they feel like they accomplished something. It's very similar. People don't realize it, but video games, the draw to video games is not the fun that people have while they're playing it. It's the accomplishment of when they win. So when you win at a video game, even though it doesn't really do anything for your life, you get that fake sense of accomplishment. Just like a checklist. You can literally make yourself a checklist. Try this. Test it out. Make yourself a checklist of all the normal things you do every day. You don't even have to do anything outside your comfort zone. Drink water, eat lunch, eat dinner, eat breakfast. Like, make a list of all that stuff and check it off as you go throughout the day. And trust me, you will feel a sense of accomplishment for doing the stuff that you do already because you were checking it off a list. So stacking silver and giving yourself challenges and reaching goals and things like that in your silver stack creates the same sort of psychological benefit. I'm sure there's a neurological explanation of that, but hey, I'm not that guy. So I'm just going to tell you my experience and what I know about it. So when I get to, fill up my guardhouse box that I'm 28 out of 50 bars in it, I am going to be super stoked to finish that challenge. When I get every year Kookaburra in my stack, I will feel super accomplished. When I get my last few Queen's Beasts, right, I'll feel super accomplished for completing that task, and it'll feel like a sense of accomplishment. And that definitely has psychological benefits to it. So if you don't give yourself challenges in your stack, I highly recommend that you do that, and you will get to experience it as well. Another psychological benefit is the education piece. Now don't get me wrong, I'm no Paula Bloom or Frostbite or any of these amazing Will's treasures. A couple folks I've named already are on this train that they know so much about all these coins and the numismatic stuff, and I know more than the average guy, but I am by no means at the level of a lot of these folks in this community. Blue Ridge Silverhound has made a life out of his knowledge of these coins. I got to meet him and his wife in Oklahoma, and they're so down to earth, but man, that guy is freaking brilliant and knows a lot about this stuff. So you get people like Big Apple Stacker with the Morgans, right? Big Apple Stacker knows more about Morgans than most people will ever forget. Let me rephrase that. I said it wrong. Big Apple has forgotten more about Morgans than most people will ever know. So, yeah, the education and learning, it's intellectually stimulating, right? If you like to learn and that makes you feel good, which for most people it does, then that is a psychological benefit, and it can increase your self-worth and your self-image. When you know more about stuff, you see yourself in a positive light and you feel better about yourself. It increases confidence. all that kind of good stuff. So, trying to think, I'm missing a couple here. I made a list of these and I forgot my list, but, oh, social connection, right? YouTube, obviously, everybody here can relate to this. The social connection that we get through this, through stacking and coin collecting and the hobby that goes with it. The social interactions are just as important for our psychological well-being as all the other things, and we get that in this hobby, at least, especially more now since the internet, right? Imagine what it was like for people 50 years ago if they didn't know somebody locally that was doing what they were doing. They didn't get to share this with anybody. They had to do it all by themselves. But how blessed are we that we get to just interact with each other anytime we want to, literally 24 hours a day. We can just hop on the YouTube and watch somebody's video, or hop in a live and communicate with each other and just enjoy this thing we do called stacking together. So I think that is a huge part of what we do here. So last but not least, I think, is legacy, right? We talk about why we stack, and we hope that we never have to use it for something in present day, but we're going to pass this down one day. At least that's the goal, right? The goal is to never have to use it and pass it down to the next generation, whether that's a kid, a grandkid, whatever. I had a guy tell me at a coin shop one time, not at a coin shop, at a coin show. It was an old guy. He was looking through some stuff, and I just started a conversation with him. And we got to talking about the younger generation and the coins. And this is what he said to me, and I'll never forget it because it was the most simple but most genius thing I'd ever heard. He said, if we don't share our passion with the younger generation, we're not going to have anybody to sell to if we need to sell. See right there, there's a 45. That's why I double checked the dates. I didn't see that one right the first time and snuck a 45 in there. Yeah, that's what he said. If we don't pass the love on and the passion on, then we're never going to have anybody to sell to. And that, to me, was kind of genius, and it made a lot of sense. But we hope to be able to pass this on to somebody in our family that's not going to just squander it. I mean, people do. I mean, I wouldn't be able to coin roll hunt and still get silver from banks if people didn't, right? So it definitely happens. But having that legacy planning and being able to pass on some financial security to your future generations, that is something to feel good about. Something that uplifts you and makes you feel like you're doing good. So the psychological benefits are great. Now, I'll give you a disclaimer. That's not to say there's no risks, because there are. I think if you stack in moderation and you're not doing it for a quick gain, there's really not a lot of risk. It's kind of, to me, it's very similar to buying real estate, except just on a smaller scale. As long as you're not having to sell that real estate, you're fine. So that's where the risk comes in. Not when you buy it, but when you have to sell it. So it looks like I am out of time. I appreciate you guys hanging out. If this video was too wordy, I apologize. I'll try to put something in the description. I had this typed out, so I will try to put it in the description if you guys want to go back and get this information and share it with somebody. That'd be great. Please like, follow, subscribe if you haven't. Let's continue on the train to Gold Sniping Farmer. You'll have a wonderful rest of the day, and do not worry about fitting in this community, because we are all mad here.